Here we go. Rob Liefeld is 140% effed. Guys, it's Rob Liefeld versus the Fantastic Four. So, it's Fantastic Four Superman month on this channel. We're just doing a deep dive on potentially Marvel's biggest franchise, just historically speaking, which would be Fantastic Four, and DC's biggest franchise, which would be Superman. I say Fantastic Four historically because it was really Fantastic Four that ignited the whole Marvel Universe revolution. But cheers, guys. Thanks for hanging out. Onslaught Reborn. I bought this. I was at Universal Studios. Like, I want to say 10, 12, maybe even longer. Maybe 13 years ago. And they had this, and they had another Rob Liefeld X-Force or New Mutants hardback. The ones that were black, the black covered ones with the little, with the little cover in the middle with the big bold type. But I bought this, and I was always between the two. But this is essentially a follow-up to the Heroes Reborn that we absolutely love, that we do discuss on this channel. You guys see I have quite a few number 3 and number 1s. The reason for that is I think number 3 is collectively one of Jim Lee's best drawn issues ever. And I love the setup for number 1, so I'm just always rebuying it and rereading it. But to get to the other side of this, right? Heroes Reborn was, outside of issue 1, Chap Yap on Avengers. So it's the House of Liefeld on this end. But the Heroes Reborn that we really do like, and I feel like we featured enough on this channel, is the Rob Liefeld Captain America. It got destroyed when it came out, rightfully so. But it's resonated. I always liked it. But I was being a weirdball. I was being an oddball isolating this. So we got, like Rob Liefeld with one issue of Avengers, drawing Avengers, and we had Rob Liefeld drawing Captain America. But we have to be honest. What we really wanted was Jim Lee to draw all of it. The little bit of the point, and I'm not sure how much of a point this is. Jim Lee's backup mics, guys like Brett Booth. We even see how Jim Lee fades away from the title and just more and more people come in to help him. So Jim Lee faded his influence in Fantastic Four. But we see it though. I mean, look at his Galactus, right? That's a boner right there. That's a chubby chub. But Jim Lee's studio came on board, namely Brett Booth. And, we had a downgrade. We see right here. This is Brett Booth. Brett Booth right here. That's the Brett Booth face. But we see a change. And Rob Liefeld recently has said that Brett Booth is a hollowed version of Jim Lee. I always saw Brett Booth as a completely different artist than Jim Lee, just based on his shot selection alone, the way how he rotates his camera within the panel. And we kind of want to say that Chap Yap, and we'll touch more on this on a different video. Chap Yap was a little bit more refined, more ready to take on the task of drawing Avengers. So Rob Liefeld's backup mic, which was Chap Yap, and we know he had Stephen Platt lined up, was maybe a little bit more exciting than Wildstorm Productions. Okay, but we have one interesting example here. We really do have Jim Lee drawing Fantastic Four versus Rob Liefeld drawing Fantastic Four in Onslaught Reborn, and that's where we're at with today's episode. So, long-winded intro or not, here we go. AKAPAD. you judge an artist by how well they can draw two things. Well, maybe three, right? Vehicles, horses, and children. When it comes to Rob Liefeld, we have little. I mean, look at Michael Turner drawing his Franklin Richards. Look at the Michael Turner. Look at the Rob Liefeld, which is right. It's Rob Liefeld. So you like it or you hate it, but it was at the time. This was a little bit exciting back in 2008, just because they were bringing it back. But I will say this: the draw for this was really this guy. See, Onslaught as a villain, he's the one that reverberated, right? Like the puddle shockwaves in the lake, you know, skipping stones, right? Like those pulses. Onslaught. I mean, let's really talk about it. If you guys really want to see how well Onslaught resonated, I mean, this is Uncanny Avengers. Right? What year was this? (2012). Well, at the end of Uncanny Avengers #1, this is one of the greatest shock endings ever. It's also something that you cannot reverse. Like, once you do this, Professor Xavier's gone. Red Skull steals Professor Xavier's brain and creates his own Onslaught. So the Onslaught, like, entity, or like just the big idea of the character, comes back as a major villain yet again. Onslaught, Rob Liefeld, Jim Lee, nothing to do with the creation of Onslaught. So I think some of the excitement for this really was to see what would happen with Onslaught. And we see Michael Turner like drawing the hell out of Onslaught. Turner had a subliminal messaging with his colorist, though. Like, I love those highlights with Captain America there, that chainmail. But we get something very Rob Liefeld opening up, which is a partially drawn, reduced page that's not full size, and we get anatomy problems right off the bat, but we also get our Rob Liefeld isms. Like, he's also Rob Liefeld, no inker, also with this, but it's like the Rob Liefeld, like, like I call it his bubbling, but he has like these bubble wrinkles, and like he's good with. Right, like getting it there, like getting it excited. So Onslaught shows up, and we immediately see that Liefeld just cannot, like, for the life of him, draw any type of child. But we get the thing. See, I think we grew up. If you really want to talk about American comic book illustration taking a slide, and maybe we want issue 3 or even 2 for this, because I don't like comparing cover, if like interior versus interior, right? And given, like, there's a little bit of time that passed between Heroes Reborn and Onslaught Reborn. We can compare Jim Lee drawing the Thing. A part of American comic book illustration, we've seen, right, like a generation grew up being able, like, everyone draws a good Thing. Everyone draws a good Human Torch / Johnny Storm. The rest of the Fantastic Four, though, right? Few people draw a good Reed. Few people draw a good Sue Storm. But if you're an illustrator, we expect you to nail the Thing. So Jim Lee, like, he does his, like, rock molding. just where like the rocks shape the muscle. I mean, Jim Lee does it very well, but we see, I mean, Rob Liefeld, a little bit more, like less shaping, we'll say, right? See how the smaller bricks, the smaller rocks, like they should get smaller and smaller as they curve around the thigh. But Jim Lee, right, like he has subtle ways of nailing that. It's like look at these fingers, like he shapes, he's contouring his line, and he's drawing like some of those smaller and smaller rocks, like you see right here, right near that word balloon. See, even here. I mean, guys, come on. Now he's blurring it into the horizon, right? He's not connecting his lines. He's not drawing through stuff, but at the same time, we see the contour shading here, right? So it makes the scene round. So Rob Liefeld, like kind of like out of the gate, is struggling with that. But here we go, right? Modern day coloring, Human Torch, everyone draws them well. It's hard to criticize Rob Liefeld's Human Torch, mostly because the colorist takes over the piece, right? Or it takes over the panel, like even here, right? Like Rob Liefeld could have butchered these hands, but the colorist just comes in and you're like, boom, like, hey, we're done, and it looks cool, really cool. We're all moving on. But we can kind of see some of his poses. And Human Torch, essentially a naked dude flying around. Like what do we have even here? See, Jim Lee chooses to do the John Byrne Human Torch lines, which everyone loved. And everyone, like, there's so many letter columns and comments about what exactly these lines are. And I love that type of dissection when it comes to just like early comics. But, we get this, though. We get these like nice hero poses. Because Human Torch is just a naked dude. But you see Jim Lee, he doesn't need the colorist. Like, maybe that's a counter observation. Excuse me. Maybe it's who can draw the Human Torch with less help from the colorist. Again, Human Torch. And I would say both of these guys at one time, they had a lot of John Byrne on their drawing desk. For this project, I mean, Jim Lee just draws a lot of the thing. He really doesn't do much when it comes to Johnny Storm. But he draws within, like, even this issue, we can kind of see Jim Lee. He draws Johnny Storm from almost like every possible angle, right? Like, Johnny Storm's not just like right here, like floating in front of the panel. Jim Lee rotates the camera. See, like a nice little, like he does use them very little, but I mean, it's still a lot. Because, Johnny Storm's the type of character, you can just throw him in the background. So, maybe that's like a counter observation also. That, like how many different ways do we see Johnny Storm? But we see, like the thing hoses him down. Like, great panel here by Mr. Liefeld. But he's clearly drawing a different type of thing. You might want to say Rob Liefeld's interpretation of the thing leans a little bit more into Kirby World. But, this is like a good opening issue. But then, like, we get these, like, Rob Liefeld shots. And we're like, what the hell are you doing? But, Reed is Reed. So it's just like, draw a decent male head. And then, we get the jacked Sue Storm. But, like, we're so good here, though. Like, this is, again, like, the colorists come in. And, like, even the highlights here, the effects, right? Like, this, and I get it. Some of these guys, like Rob Liefeld, works very, like, closely with his colorist. Or he has a way to let the colorist, like, really pick up what his, like, faults are. right? Rob Liefeld doesn't leave it all on the page. He leaves it all on the page and the colorist's file. But the colorist can't, like, you know, bail him out or save everything. I mean, just get this god-awful Ben Franklin and AKA Padders. I guess I'll insert that, but there's a, you know, I'll include a message moving into this about here, because we know pretty much kind of who Franklin Richards is based on, which is a sad situation. But again, too, though, like, we get some nice Rob Liefeld looking thing action here, like nice big chunky fingers. Like this face here works. Like this reaction doesn't work too well. He does look a Frank Miller animatic with Ricky Barnes jumping in the panel. Like, nice looking stuff. But what do we expect from Rob Liefeld? Well, like, the more and the deeper we get into the series, the less his art makes sense. Like this. Like, this is a partially drawn page here. Like, this page. And this is where, like, Marvel... excuse me. This is where Marvel, like, editorial-wise, needs to come in. And just be like, oh my god, like, holy crap. Send this page back. So here we get a little bit more Avengers. But we want the Fantastic Four. So we get another, like, nice looking Reed. Nice looking Sue Storm. And I'm not comparing, like, every single shot to, like, great looking thing here, which is very close. There was a Youngblood Strike File, maybe Youngblood Strike File issue 5, which is a view of the Thing. I mean, of Badrock that looks just like the Thing here. But, you know, like, we get some good panels, some really weird, horrible panels. Yeah, I do like the red and the white Fantastic Four uniforms work. But it's like, it's a quick contrast, because we get this, and you're like, okay, right. But then, like, it's Ed McGuinness over here. And you're like, wow, like, someone that has that clearly dedicated her life to drawing. So, like, the one-to-one comparisons, right? Like, it's not fully there, because this is not a complete Fantastic Four story. But again, too, though, like, very, like, partially drawn page. And by partially drawn page, I mean that they're, like, the pages are, like, this size. Like, they're this size, okay? They're not full-size pages. Clearly, two non-full-size pages here. But, you know, again, like, Rob Liefeld gets criticized for how he renders women. And we have to say, rightfully so. I mean, just to compare. He's got, you know, like, what, maybe issue 4? Like, let's just get into, you know, both of these guys are 4 months into drawing Sue Storm. And you guys can see, like, within a couple seconds of, here, like, what, 4 months in, and who's doing it better? Maybe this is issue 5. You know, to be fair. So we have to kind of develop ways of... Oh, this is issue 3. Wow, okay. Rob Liefeld, issue 3, Sue Storm versus 4 months in, Jim Lee, Sue Storm. You know, we have to develop ways that we gauge and look at comic book illustration. I'm not even familiar with this. Wizards. Oh, Heroes Reborn Half. Heroes Reborn Half? Wow, I didn't realize that was a mail away. I thought that was only in Wizard. I need to get this. Okay. Homework. Always picking up new things. Yeah, we have to be kind of clear on, like, the methods of the comparisons. I mean, look at J. Scott again. Look at J. Scott Campbell, alternate cover. Rob Liefeld cover. Like, everyone's buying this one first. But we have to be clear on the methods. Exactly how do we compare? How do we compare the two? See, like, you know, like Rob Liefeld's stretchy Mr. Fantastic looks very much like Plastic Man. Mr. Fantastic should not look like Plastic Man. Right? Like Plastic Man is a cartoon character. That I get it. He does exist in the DC universe, but he's essentially a cartoon character in the DCU. But yeah, like I think in this issue, does Reed stretch and he stretches and grabs? Here we go. Yeah, he stretches and grabs this like dinosaur, right? When they get to Wakanda. So like there's a way to stretch Reed Richards to where he looks like more of a MAN and not a cartoon. That's a true like stylistic approach, and we might want to say it's editorial approach. Like you should never pencil neck Reed. You should never do it. I think, yeah, I don't think it works here. I don't think it fits Rob Liefeld's style. I think from his perspective, it's easy and he's getting the work done. Because this is Kamala Khan here. And people absolutely hate I always said this. You could stretch Kamala Khan and make her look so much different and so much cooler and better and tougher. You know, because heroes take hits. Heroes should be tough. But see, like, we get stuff like this. Yeah, we get some cool, like, you know, like Rob Liefeld. But he's also working with Jeff Loeb. And Jeff Loeb knows how to write into Rob Liefeld. Side note, Rob Liefeld says they were always going to reveal this. Hawkeye in, the reason why he's brown, Hawkeye in Avengers over here. Do we have a Trap Yap Hawkeye? Let's find them if we do. Hawkeye right here, see? People hated that. They hated the Heroes Reborn Hawkeye. I don't know why. I don't know why. It never bothered me, right? Never bothered me. But, you know, we get him for like one panel here. Here we go, right here. Right? Well, they finally reveal that it's the Pocket Universe Heroes Reborn Wolverine. And they do a fastball special. Avengers Assemble. But, like, so a lot of this is, if you like Rob Liefeld, this is like your bag. But if you're kind of like the casual general audience comic book reader, even at this time, this stuff is not going to leave you. And the partially drawn pages are not going to leave you. And I think his interpretation of Reed Richards, you're just going to say like, oh my God, like crap. But the designs are kind of there. I'd like like the Heroes Reborn Fantastic Four design 2.0. And we go back to the Pocket Universe. Onslaught is left alive. And then Bucky Barnes is in the Marvel Universe proper, because we just have the assassination of Captain America. But then again, like Rob Liefeld, I mean, what's happening here, right? Criticized for his effort. That's so much of like the true Rob Liefeld position. It's the effort. Like people know, I mean, look at the Joe Mad cover. Like, people don't see the effort, and they get pissed off. And I would say, like, a lot of his blowback with all the new Young Blood stuff now, the detractors don't like the level of effort they see from him. They just don't. All right, AKAPADers, it's Rob Liefeld versus the Fantastic Four.